Shalom and good evening. It is so good to be with you in these intense and dire times. I mean, the world is literally upside down. Iran is burning. The entire Middle East is like a powder keg about to explode. And we know that there are forces right now that are doing everything to ensure the safety and stability of this small country, Israel, and the future of Iran. There's decisions that are being made right now in closed doors, both in Israel and the United States. Everything says that a greater war is imminent, and I mean imminent within the next 48 hours or less. And so we have a desire in Israel to be able to make sure that we don't get shot with ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, like happened to us 3 other times. I believe it's 28 people were killed in the last sortie of missiles which shot us in June of last year, 2025. Right now, the regime, we have reports that not only the Ayatollah, but all kinds of IRGC officials are fleeing or are making plans to flee. Some sources even say that possibly the Ayatollah himself, Khamenei, has fled to Moscow, Russia. A lot is going on, and I want to unpack this. I'm so excited to go into a few different scenarios with the foremost expert. This man, my dear friend, and I'm so honored to be able to call him my dear friend, Dr. Mordechai Kedar, professor and doctor. He was my professor in the Reichman University where I studied, had the honor. It's one of the best schools of government in the entire country of Israel here. And I had the honor to be able to study under him. He's going to get on just now. And here he is, Dr. Mordechai Kedar. Let's welcome him with great honor. He is... He's on TV literally all the time here in Israel. You might not have heard of him so much in the other countries that you're tuning in from, but he does fly around the world. Definitely in Israel, he's very, very known on TV day and night. I'm super honored to have him on the show and tonight because he speaks Persian, okay? He speaks Arabic. He speaks a whole bunch of languages. He's a Jewish person originally from Poland who learned Arabic, who eventually decided to be able to be that advisor that would give us the inside understanding of what dynamics are happening throughout the Middle East. What dynamics make Iran today? What could the future of Iran look like? So I want to be able to introduce Dr. Mordechai Kedar right now, and I see that he is on right now. How are you doing? I want to test sound. How are you doing, Dr. Mordechai? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you very well. How do you hear me? How do you see me?
Yes, I can see you okay right now. I think the sound guys are also checking that right now, your signal. And it's what a pleasure and what an honor to be able to have you on the show today. I know it's a little late in your day, but I know that it's like I was just talking to the guests about that it's such a powder keg right now in the Middle East. It's such a powder keg right now with everything going on with the IRGC and what the future could be with Reza. I was so glad to talk with you in an earlier show earlier last year, and now it's all coming to pass where it could be the full end of that regime and of the IRGC, the head of the octopus of terror, global terror, really. And now you probably know that Trump just now has declared the Muslim Brotherhood Lebanon branch and Egypt branch as terrorist organizations, has said any country that does any dealings with Iran will receive a 25% tax when they do any business with the United States. And they are officially putting the last economic sanctions possible on highest level sanctions on Iran, and of course are discussing military action as well as Israel is discussing military action right now. This is not a secret. It's known, and there's a lot of elements there. One more second with the sound guy. Can you hear, Doctor? You want to do one more test, Doctor, with your sound and just say something?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, I mean, I can see you here on the screen. They're sorting out the sound 100% right now. So then just while he's doing that, to say is that, I understand that this future would affect not only Gaza, it would affect, the Hamas, it would affect Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. It would affect the
Well,
Houthis
Hezbollah in
controlling
southern
Yemen.
Lebanon. It would affect the Houthis controlling
I'm saying
Yemen.
if the regime was to
What the
fall.
declaration
I'm saying
about
if the
Iran,
regime was to fall,
Yes, the fact that there is
if the
military.
regime
yes,
in
the
Iran
fact that there is
was to
military.
fall, it changes many things in the whole world. First of all,
Correct. And so what?
first of first of all, Iran might not remain as one state. It might fall apart according to ethnic lines because Iran
Mm.
has many nations in it,
Uh-huh.
Arabs and Kurdish and Baluchis and Turkmens and Azerbaijanis and many more groups. And as a result of the collapse of the regime, could be that some minorities will declare statehood, will declare independence from the state. This is one result which might be there. Secondly, all the proxies will lose their father, will lose their sponsor. Hezbollah, Houthis, those in Iraq, those in Syria, if they are still there, and many others. This is the second thing. Third, Russia. Russia will lose one of the weapon supplier, especially drones, which they use in Ukraine. And this also can contribute to the end of the war between
עשית
Russia
טייטל
and
לא
Ukraine.
נכון.
I
Okay.
understand. I understand.
So
So what we're
let me
looking
let
at
me know
right
when you
here
start recording.
is what we're looking at right here is such a
I
dynamic
I have
understand.
to
shift,
finish.
and I think the
I have to
first point.
finish the latest at
I understand. So
10:55.
what we're looking right here is such a dynamic view is who will be able to take power there. I know we talked about this briefly in a former meeting at your house, but who would be able to take power? Would Reza Pahlavi, the son of the
Tell me,
Shah,
Chaim,
have
Chaim, are
enough?
you
I know
recording
he has
already?
media on his side, but would
Chaim, are you recording?
yes, we're now right now recording. Yes, we're just hit record. Yes.
Okay, so start the whole thing from the beginning and we'll go on.
Okay.
But I
All
must
right.
finish by 10:55.
Right.
It's maximum 35 minutes.
Yes. Everybody watching here. A genius in understanding Israelis who are indigenous to this land for thousands and thousands of years. Okay, even
But
for
yet, the
thousands and
issue
thousands
that
of
we
years we've been
have
here.
as Israelis is sometimes we end up falling into a Western mindset. And therefore, we don't understand the family dynamics, the honor dynamics, the religion of what's different between Shia Islam and Sunni Islam. And there's many dynamics that we don't always understand. So I want to jump right into it and ask Dr. Mordechai Kedar what he thinks concerning could there be a military strike impending, imminent, in the next 24 to 48 hours?
Well, this is what
From Israel to Iran.
President Trump said. Let's hope that this is for real. I don't know to what extent Israel will be involved, if at all. Maybe Israel is already involved in a clandestine way. I have no idea, and I'm not part of the decision making about this whole issue. What I know is that, as much as I read, Netanyahu got some reduction in the hours which he has to face his court these days, apparently because of this reason. Um, Look, Iran today is in a situation of boiling. The people in the streets continue to act against the government, continue to attack security personnel, although
Right.
most of them have no weapons, means the people in the street, and they are being killed by big numbers. People talk about at least 15,000 people who were murdered cold-bloodedly by the regime
15,000. Wow.
I don't know who counts them, but it's all matter of estimation. But there are pictures which come and videos which come from all kinds of places which show piles of dead people, and this is what the harvest of the regime as it is today. But the masses do not give up. The masses continue to stream to the streets and to challenge the regime. And the regime, like in an instinct, it kills them. But there is somebody in the world. His name is Donald J. Trump, and apparently he sees what's happening. He has these sources, and he knows what's happening there. And as much as I understand, he is preparing some kind of a strike over something in Iran, whether it will be the regime itself, the people of the regime, all kinds of facilities like commandment places,
Command center, command and control center.
command
Yeah.
centers, or communications centers, or I have no idea what plan they have. But apparently he prepares a very big strike because they actually act blatantly against his demand to stop
Of
killing
course.
their own people.
So I know that there's a few forces there. There's the police. There's the Artesh, the regular army.
Artesh, there's the Basij, which is more like the street police, the protest suppression and all that. And they have a lot of these Arabs that they brought in that are not Persians in the Basij. And then you have the IRGC, which is the ones that have all those missiles, right, that shot at us, the cruise missiles and the ballistic missiles, and they might want to do that again. Do you think that they would, as soon as America attacks, that they would shoot Israel immediately with all of their missiles?
This is what they threaten, this is what they say. And Israel should take their words on face value. I believe that the Israeli defenses these hours are in the highest alert, ready to face any challenge which will come from anywhere. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the Air Force is already above Iran in order to prevent launching of missiles. I have no idea what they prepare. And if I was in the intelligence, I would open a big eye to see any preparation to launch missiles and thwart it from the beginning.
Right.
Before they launch the missiles. And there are things which can be shown by, for example, the vehicles which bring the missiles to the position where they can be launched, or the launchers. Okay, there are things which can be detected before launching missiles and maybe can be attacked as well. So I hope that those who are in charge of our security
Right.
do know what to do.
The Shah himself doesn't have any army.
Now I
He
know
does
the Shah
have the
himself doesn't have
media.
any army.
Does he have the voice of the people to a level where you believe that he could be if the regime was to fall, one way or another, if the people took over and if Donald J. Trump in the United States and Israel helped to make them all flee and fail, could he, in your mind, take over? And if he did take over, would he bring in democracy? He himself is a Shia. He loves Israel, but he's a Shia Islamist, right?
It's tailored for Western societies where all kinds of characteristics of society enable democracy to be the name of the political game. In Iran, the culture is totally different. The culture of power. Democracy cannot be implemented in a state like Iran because of the different culture. They don't act according to the Western culture, which enables, just like you cannot operate your iPhone with the operating system of Android. Right. It doesn't fit. It doesn't work this way. What he can means the Reza Shah If he agrees, and this is a big question, will he agree to go back to Iran in order to try to build something alternative to the mullahs? Um, First of all, I'm not sure that personally he will be willing to do it. We still have to wait until his decision. Secondly, even if he does it, it doesn't mean that all the minorities will continue to be willing to be ruled by the Persians. Don't forget, he's Persian. And there are many
Right.
minorities which are not Persian. There are
Right.
Arabs in the Ahwaz, there are Kurdish, there are Azerbaijanis, there are
Right.
Turkmens, there are Baluchis,
Yeah.
Gilyakis, Mazandaranis, many minorities. And some of them might declare statehood and independence from Iran, take advantage. They will take
That,
advantage of the fact that the regime is dysfunctional, and they will declare statehood on their spaces where they live.
yeah.
Why should they be subjugated to the Persians, whether the mullahs or the Shah? They like neither those nor those.
I was just going to ask you about that. I know that there is in the besiege, if I'm saying that
Right?
right,
Which is
which is
like
like
the
the
street
street
thugs, the
thug.
street police that try to work along with the police, and there was also the morality police who are making sure they wear the hijabs and jailing and beating women. So they're not very popular right now, the street police. But the besiege, they bring in even other Muslims that are not Persian and all that. So you have here also the Sistan and the Baluchistan who are not Shia, right? They're Sunni. So they're aren't they that's the enemy kind of the Shia. Sunni is the opposite side. Now aren't they the front lines of the revolution in many ways because they're so poor, and just like the way the besiege brings people off the street to join them, maybe they are a bunch of poor people who are uniting against the regime, tearing down the signs, burning pictures, tearing down statues. And would they want to form their own state, or are they tearing it down to free Iran or for themselves? That's my question about Baluchistan.
Well, the Baluchis definitely are in a, I wouldn't say constant, but very long position of rebellion against the state. It didn't start now. It's already years that they are actually acting against the state, willing to be liberated from the Persian yoke. The same thing you can say about the Kurdish minority as well in the northwest part of Iran. They also are very much in hostility vis-à-vis the central regime, vis-à-vis the Persians as well. So definitely there is very much willing within those minorities to get rid of the Persian yoke and to be liberated to a degree that they will be either autonomous or all the way independent states. Yes,
But
this is a
so
possibility which we cannot overrule. Just like what happened in the Soviet Union, which with the collapse of the communist regime, the
right.
state was divided to 15 ethnic states.
Hmm.
Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan,
Right.
Azerbaijan, all these countries, and Russia, of course. And it was parallel to the collapse of the communist regime. The state was divided. The same thing was in Yugoslavia.
Right.
Once the Tito regime disappeared, the state shattered to pieces to 6 different states. Czechoslovakia, the same thing. So the same thing can happen in Iran as well. Once the central regime will be removed, the minorities will feel free to do whatever they like.
Right. So now I know that everyone blames Israel for
Everything,
everything,
even
even
though
though.
we had no problem with Iran. We love the people of Iran. There's plenty of Persian Jews who live here and live in Europe and live in United States. We love Iran. But this regime chants death to Israel, death to America. Okay, so here's the explosive question before people ask it. I'm just going to ask it to you. I know that Mike Pompeo tweeted, "Happy New Year to every Mossad agent walking beside the protesters." Okay, so you have Israel admitted to deploying 100 plus agents inside Iran during the last year's war. Are these protests genuinely Iranian?
No, no, no. Don't they mistaken. I believe that what Pompeo said is actually it's some kind of a joke because
Okay.
this is what the regime claimed. that behind every protester in the street, the
Right.
Mossad is standing. So Pompeo took this nonsense idea and
Okay.
used it on the judge. It gave echo to this nonsense. What? The
Okay.
Mossad has so many millions or so many thousands of agents in Iran? Give me a break. Okay?
Right.
So actually, it was, I think, a joke which he made
Okay.
about the Iranian regimes claiming that the Mossad is in the streets.
Right. Okay. So it's like a joke. Let me ask this:
What
what
do
do
the
the
people of Iran want other than no more Ayatollah? What is that? Bullying and morality police. And what do they want? Do you know?
They want, first of all, to get rid of the religious authorities which impose on them kind of Islam which they are not willing to adopt. This one thing. Secondly, they want good life, good economy. Look, don't
to be
forget
friends with
the
America?
trigger to this round of violence was the deterioration of the currency
Yeah.
and the economic situation. This was the trigger this time, and they want normal life. They want to, to have good health, good services, a government which will not be corrupt, and I'm not saying that everybody wants to migrate to America. Definitely, if you gave them the opportunity, many of them
No.
would move to America. But those who want to stay in Iran want to live a normal life, like in every normal country, not to live under sanctions, not to live under all kinds of impositions
Right.
made by the government. They want to live normal life, just
Right.
like they see in the movies or in the TV.
So
One
one
option
option
is
is
that
that
they could unite under the son of the Shah named Reza Pahlavi, the crown prince. He could be like a king. Maybe some want a king, maybe some don't want it. The other thing is it could be more of a Western state. And number three, it could just be a bunch of other little states. And number four, it could be a failed state like Syria. It could just turn to crazy, crazy mess, anarchy. Yeah?
Let me tell you something. First of all, if he comes and wants to stabilize the state, he will first of all be forced to get rid of the people who ran the country for the Ayatollahs. Because if he leaves them around, they will constantly act against him, speak against him, incite against him, because for them, he was the Satan, which was in the United States of America, the big Satan, supported
yes.
by Israel, where he visited a few times, the small Satan. And if he really wants to survive as a government, he will have to get rid of them physically, means to put them in a place which they can speak to the walls, the maximum,
Right.
until the end of their lives. I'm not talking to butcher them. I'm not saying to butcher them, but
Well,
definitely to put them in places which they can bring no harm anymore. This
oh,
is something which will be the first step. Otherwise, he will not be able to have any second step. Then he has to establish a government which will be, first of all, honest government. People who are clean, people who are not suspected to be corrupt, and he will be, he will not be forced to make sure that everything there will be transparent, all the decisions will be public, and nothing will remind the people of the corruption in the Ayatollah's era, and also in his father's time. Thirdly,
really quick. Before,
Before I get to the last question, just so people get to know you a little bit better that don't know you in English, you're very known in Israel, very known. But those who don't know English, quickly tell us, how did a Polish Jewish young man start learning Persian and Arabic and speaking all these languages and becoming one of the foremost, if not the foremost, consultant on Middle East affairs? In a short story, how did this happen?
all it needed is one good teacher for Arabic in the high school, actually a man who originally came from Germany, and he spoke Arabic very well, and he taught us in a way which brought us to the highest level of Arabic. I don't know what you think about my English, but my Arabic is better. Thanks to that teacher, dear teacher, Dov Iron, may he rest in peace. So this is, in very short, how a boy who was born to a Yiddish-speaking family from Poland becomes an expert on Islam in the Middle East. The language is the key.
Okay, last two-part question. Here's what it is what can be a unifying factor? I know that the religion, which is it has an apocalyptic worldview, of the Mahdi coming
and
and
the
the
12th, 12 are
12.
Shias, and there's 9 are Shias, which believe that there's the 12th Imam is going to come back, and he's going to make the whole world under radical Sharia law and so on. So, but if that's no longer the unifying factor, what can be a unifying factor? Is it money? Is it American money? Is it working with Israel and make the pipeline back to Ashkelon? What can be the unifying factor? And the second question is going to be about Book of Jeremiah. So I'll let you answer that.
For Iran, I think everybody in Iran is looking to the future to be a normal state, to be a state which will be acceptable by the world, to be a state with no sanctions, a state which you can go in, you can go out, you can say whatever you like, you can love whoever you like, you can
Have your hair down.
walk in the street the way you like, with a hair veil, without hair veil, and people want to be left alone to do and to say and to think whatever they like. This is what I mean by freedom. This is what they want. They don't care so much about democracy, no democracy, theocracy, or a monarchy. They would accept everything which will give them the personal freedom to think, to say, and to be whatever they want.
Some would say that the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, is what's happening, that the
Fierce
fierce
anger of the God of Israel has come upon them because of what they did October 7th through their proxies in Gaza, what they tried to do through their proxies in Hezbollah and Yemen and Iraq and through Syria, the seven front war. Would you think that the prophecy, perhaps, I know this is not maybe what you normally get asked, but I know our viewers want to know the answer. What you think is Jeremiah 49, I don't know if you have a Bible right there, talks about in verse 36, it says, well, in verse 35, it says, thus says God, I will break the bow of Elam. Elam is the old name, right? Elam, Faras, or part of the country there was called the chief of their might. I'll break their bow. When I think of a bow, you think of a missile launcher, right? In modern speak would be like, an arrow is like a missile now. They're not really shooting arrows anymore. They're shooting missiles. I'll break their bow. And it says, I'll bring on the four winds of the four quarters, the knafeh, the wings of heaven, and I'll scatter them towards all those winds, that there will no more be a nation where the outcasts of Elam will not go to. They're going to be kicked out all around, and I will cause them to be dismayed before their enemies. And it goes on, I will bring evil upon them in my fierce anger. I'm going to send a sword after them until I consume them, and then I'm going to set my throne in Elam. For many people, they think, hey, the throne of the God of Israel, what does that look like? And it goes on, it says, I will destroy from there the king and the princes. Maybe that's the Ayatollah and the IRGC. I don't know. But it comes to pass in the latter days, I'll bring again the captivity of Elam. They'll come back. Do you think that, I know that didn't happen yet, do you think potentially maybe Jeremiah 49, verse 36 through 39 could be happening now? Let's hope so.
That's a good answer.
And last question, really, will that be the end of the rearming of Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis and others? Will that be the end of their thing, or will they find other sources to rearm? Now that the Muslim Brotherhood also is sanctioned, could that be the end of their saga of terror? And that's my last question.
President Trump is banning Muslim Brotherhood in all kinds of states, but he forgot one state, the United States of America. The Muslim Brotherhood are heavily, intensively active in the United States of America. An organization named CAIR, Council on American Islamic Relations. They are Muslim Brotherhood organization. Qatar sponsors this organization and many more. Therefore, if he wants to really to act against the Muslim Brotherhood, he should start in his home before he turns to other countries. I believe that he is doing the right thing by combating Muslim Brotherhood wherever they are. But the first place to fight them is in the United States of America.
Interesting. So I believe that this is critical times. Do you have a bomb shelter? Are you going to your bomb shelter tonight? Not yet.
Not yet. But
Not
we
yet.
are ready, you know. We are used
Yes.
to it.
There was 28 people, I believe, that died in the last in July. I believe it was 28 that died that were murdered by Iran in the last one, and great destruction. I walked through the rubble in Ramat Gan. I walked through
in
it.
Tel Aviv. I walked through it also in Holon, in Bat Yam, and also in Beersheba. And there was other damage in Haifa and other places. I almost was blown up when I was in the south at Re'im, and the missiles were right on us. But what I find amazing is that Israel not only has the Arrow 3, but also the THAAD, the THAAD system with the United States, and also the Iron Dome, and also the lasers, and of course, the Golden Dome of the God of Israel. And I believe that he's going to be protecting us, so I'm not worried.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining me in this late hour. May God bless you and keep you safe. Doctor, it's always a pleasure. Bye.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure and an honor. באמת שכן. תודה רבה. אני מנתק אותך. תודה רבה. לילה טוב. It's a real honor to be able to have you guys on with Dr. Mordechai. He really is a friend, and he shares very deep wisdom from his experience. And I'll just tell you one story as I end this, and I want you to be praying for Israel, is that he was very much a left-wing. He shares this on television. He was more of a left-wing. He was thinking that we don't need borders, we don't need, security. And what happened is when he met Arafat, Yasser Arafat, and of course, Mordechai speaks fluent Arabic. And so he came there, and there was this meeting, and Arafat, they said to Arafat, hey, there's a guy here to talk, there's a delegation to talk with you. And he said, I'm just going to give them the same lies I always give them in Arabic. But Mordechai heard that, and he understood taqiyya, which is that jihadist ability to lie to the infidel, bold-faced lies. And at that moment, he said, I need to learn a lot more and share what's going on in Arabic. And that's what he's done. He's been a highly valued resource and a dear friend. Good night to you all. Pray for Israel.